When God is for you, dear one, who can be against you? And God is for and with every single one of you in every single moment of your life. Your existence is filled with God's presence and God's awareness of you. God knows you personally. God is not just an energetic force like gravity or magnetism or electricity that flows through everything and animates everything. This too, yes, is God. It is part of the expression of God. But God is also a presence that is aware of you, which means that God is aware of itself. God is aware of itself, and God is aware of you, and God is aware of your presence, and God is positively, lovingly orientated towards you. God sees you as beautiful, and God sees your choices as beautiful. Your desires, your expression of yourself, which is nothing more than a very unique expression of God. God finds that beautiful. And if you wish to shift the world, light worker, if you wish to change the world into being a more loving place, you would start by loving yourself and loving the world the way God does, which is not, as you might have been taught, with judgment at all, but with complete acceptance, understanding, and love. No matter what your choices or the choices of another. Yes, it is true that there are many, many choices that you are making and that you as humanity or as individuals have made that cause great suffering to yourself or to others, that brings destruction to the world you live in, that seems to have more negative impact and consequences than any that you can see or name that are positive. But don't you see, dear one, by continuing to fight against energetically, if not verbally or mentally or out in the world, by continuing to fight against the decisions and the choices of others, you are continuing the fight. By continuing to judge the expression, the choices, and the impact of anyone, yourself or outside of yourself, you are continuing the destruction. There is only ever two choices: a choice of love or a choice of fear, a choice of creation or a choice of destruction, a choice of acceptance or a choice of judgment. These are only ever the two choices available to you. Very many different forms, and that these two choices presents themselves to you, and we have named but a few. But these are only ever the two choices in front of you. Sometimes it seems like you have to fight for the protection of yourself or someone else, at a cost of the destruction of someone you deem less worthy of protection, of love. This is never true. There is always a choice of and. Choice of and that brings together, that builds up, that creates, that is loving. You know that you can say no and be loving, right? You know that you can say no and be accepting of someone else's choices. You can get to choose for yourself and lovingly move away from those whom you do not agree with. You can say no and not judge someone. Choose that which you have control over in your own world to create, to build up, to nurture, to grow, to love. Plant seeds of love wherever you go. Water them with acceptance. And that is how you change the world. Every time you judge the decision of another, you judge what you think the world has become, you try to break down someone else because you think their behavior is destructive, you are just continuing to add to that which you do not desire. There is always a loving choice available, dear one. Always. There is always a way to create. There's always a way to accept. And if you are honest and you connect with the deep truth of your heart, this is what your heart is calling you towards. And this is how you change the world. This is how you build a loving, creative, accepting, beautiful world. By planting and watering and growing seeds of love in your inner world, in your mind, and everywhere you go in the outside world. Let this be your guiding light for the next 6 months until the next solstice. And you will see evidence of this major shift, not just in your own world, but in the bigger outside world as well. Because the world is ripe, the world is ready. And it's your job to start taking care of it by bringing more love into the world instead of more destruction and judgment. Let love be your guide, the way God loves you. And see how that changes everything. We are your guides and teachers. We are with you in every moment. We love you deeply, and so it is.